The Whisperer Beneath. A tale from Blue Aespa. A blade in the dark. Sile Duskend had made a career of slipping where she shouldn't. She could climb walls like ivy, pick locks with the grace of a musician, and vanish into shadows as if she had never been born. No gods, no allegiances. She lived for the thrill and the glitter. The heist in Lerthisport was meant to be her retirement job. A noble's manor, opulent and stuffed to the rafters with oddities collected from foreign lands. One item in particular had drawn her eye, a silver mask with no eye holes and teeth carved into a permanent Richter grin. It had been locked in a chest behind 3 wards. She breached them all before midnight. When she picked it up, it was cold as ice, and wet, as if recently buried. She didn't put it on. She wasn't stupid. She merely held it. And then the fog rolled in. No warning. No sea breeze. Just a thick white shroud that ate the streets and deafened the bells. Her hands went numb, her breath caught in her throat, and her vision spun. When she awoke, the world was not her own. To Blue Aespa. She wandered for a time, days maybe. Time was slippery here. The land was a skeletal thing, jagged hills, caves like open wounds, and above it all, a black sky smeared with lightning that never stopped flickering. There was no sun, only a half-dead moon. She followed what she thought was a path, though it bent and changed behind her. She was not alone, she realized. Something unseen watched from cracks in the stone, the hissing wind, the glistening fungal trees. At night she dreamed of wires burrowing into her skin, of her thoughts being plucked like strings on a lute. She didn't eat. She didn't need to. Her body walked even when her mind did not wish it to. 3. The city that thinks. She reached the outskirts of a city, if it could be called that. Towering structures that weren't made so much as grown, stone fused with organic tissue. Roads curved impossibly, buildings whispered when she passed, and eyes opened in the walls to watch her. A name came to her unbidden, Blue Aespa. It rang through her head like a scream underwater. The locals, if they could be called that, were hunched things with no mouths, their eyes glazed and milky. They wandered in endless circuits, mouthing prayers to things with too many limbs. Sile tried to speak to one. It clawed at its own face in response. For the thought tyrant. She felt the presence before she saw it. A gravity of the mind, a weight pressing into her skull. Ideas not her own. Curious thing. Still aware. Still resistant. Broken soon. She ran. 4 days. 4 weeks. The landscape mocked her. She'd crest a ridge only to find herself at its base. Her own footprints doubled back on her. A migraine bloomed behind her eyes like rot. And then the sky opened. And the brain descended. The illithid god brain. Suspended in a writhing cradle of tentacles and shimmering energy was the size of a cathedral, a colossal, ancient mind flayer brain, pulsing with stolen thought. The god brain of Blue Aespa, the one who ruled this domain not with armies but with whispers, experiments, and manipulation. It spoke through others. Dead things. Puppets. It showed her what she would become. A test subject. They dragged her through glass tunnels and echoing chambers of surgical horror. She saw rows of others, brains opened like fruit, twitching bodies wired to machines that sang when they died. They strapped her to a stone slab. She screamed. They cut. And still, she lived. 6. The quiet mind. Sile did not remember when she stopped struggling. The procedures were not meant to kill. Not yet. Her thoughts came slower now. Foreign concepts slipped in like rainwater: neural map, integration vector, acceptable deviation. She saw her own hands moving, but not of her own will. They made her walk, made her hunt. She was the bait. More were being brought in: dreamers, mags, priests. She lured them. She smiled as they died, though her soul howled beneath. Sometimes she was rewarded. They let her see the sky, or gave her new memories to play with. 7. The end of Sile Duskend. It wasn't death that found her. It was erasure. One day, the fog inside her cleared. Just enough. She looked down and saw her own dagger in her hand, driven into the chest of a terrified child in a cage. She did not remember why. She screamed. The scream did not come from her throat, it came from the walls. That night, the Godbrain visited her in person, descending from the ceiling on a bundle of metallic limbs. It peered into her skull, not to speak, but to feed. And in that moment, Sile Duskend ceased to be a thief. She became data. An echo. A useful case study. Another page in the ever-growing library of thoughts hoarded beneath the stone and shadow. There is no escape from Blue Aespa. Not even in death.